All right, we are live this morning. Good morning to you, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you might be in the world as you are watching this broadcast. I appreciate you joining me today for this broadcast. This is Wednesday. Wednesday is what I call pivot day. You know how people talk about hump day on Wednesday? I call it pivot day. And so for pivot day, we want to talk a little bit about the kinds of businesses and organizations that have been faced with challenges during COVID-19, and they have managed to pivot. And so I have with me today David Smith, and we're going to get into a little bit more of an introduction with David Smith in just a minute here. But David Smith has run several organizations and did really quite a remarkable job of pivoting. And I wanted to just chat with him a little bit to have him maybe share with us a little bit about what was going on in his mind and why and how he did what he did. So before we introduce David, I want to make sure that if you have not liked, subscribed, or followed to my channel, we are on 3 different platforms right now. So we're on Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope. So whichever platform you might be watching on, if you have not already liked, subscribed, or followed, make sure you do that on the platform so that you catch whatever future broadcasts that come up. That's assuming that you like what you hear and what you see. So if you do, like, subscribe, and follow. And if not, bummer. That's bad news. All right, let's get into it a little bit with David Smith. David, how are you this morning?
Excellent. What a great day it is too. We're out of the heat for a little while at least.
Okay. That's what I heard. I actually have not been outside this morning. So I usually get up and go for a walk. And this morning I had too much stuff going on my plate. So I actually did not make it out for my morning walk this morning. So I'm a little bit bummed about that. But so now, before we dive into it all completely though, I want to have you talk a little bit more about the various organizations or what it is that you do, because you've got Marketing Department LV, you've got the Las Vegas Health and Fitness Chamber, you've got another health-oriented organization that's really, I guess, tied into your Las Vegas area trails site. So tell us wrap that up for us a little bit. Tell us a little bit more about all those things that you have.
Okay, I'll try and give you the whirlwind tour here.
Yeah.
I'm going to start out with the one that is closest to my heart at the moment.
Okay.
Las Vegas area trails, where my goal here is to explore and video document every wilderness area within about 100 miles of Las Vegas. And so every Saturday I do an exploration. And anyway, yeah, you can always see on the homepage my recent trips. And
I did not put that in here. So that's Las Vegas Area Trails, right? .com, right?
LasVegasAreaTrails.com. I click on the most recent one and it should be coming up. Oh my gosh. Okay. Anyway, that's because it's the most recent one. There we go.
We can't see it, but that's okay because we don't have a lot of time to share screen and do all that stuff anyway.
Oh, really? I'm not sharing the screen.
So. No, we don't see it. So, but that's okay. So this just
okay.
You just kind of give us the short scheme of it. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the one near and dear to your heart. But tell us about some of the others.
Okay, I am in the process of doing your screen share. Is it sharing now?
No, you went into a whole new thing that actually adds another user in the account. So
really?
Let's not do that. Let's scrap the screen share. So
we'll scrap the screen share. And
we're going to run out of time.
Okay, here we go. So my other sites are our marketing department, lv.com.
Mm-hmm.
And that site is a team of marketers. We conduct just about any marketing project that a company would like. And if we don't have the person that can accomplish whatever particular service that company needs, then we find that person. So we're a coalition of marketing professionals. And we've been together for about 2 years now.
Okay.
And then getting into the networking area, which is where we are focusing today, there is Las Vegas area trail. I mean, not Las Vegas area trails. There's networklasvegas.com.
Mm-hmm.
And Network Las Vegas is a website that I've had for a couple of years. And I track 6 of the major networking organizations in Las Vegas and place the schedule of those networking organizations on networklasvegas.com.
Mm-hmm.
And so people can follow that, and they can click on the links and go to meetings and register for meetings. So that has helped me to keep in touch with a lot of networking organizations in Las Vegas, and I've tracked their schedules for the past couple of years. And a final site that I'll mention is Las Vegas Health and Fitness Chamber of Commerce. And I was asked to take over the Chamber of Commerce last March due to my networking and my health services background. And by the way, on Las Vegas Area Trails, I have a webinar series that's been going for about a year now, over a year. And it features health professionals that give a webinar once every other week. And so we've got something like 30 to 40 webinars on that schedule on LasVegasAreaTrails.com/health education. So I guess my reputation as a networker and as a person that's involved in health and fitness caused the people of the Chamber of Commerce to ask me to take over that site, and that whole organization, Las Vegas Health and Fitness Chamber. So I know that's a lot of different things, but the real key to tie everything together is I'm a marketing professional who loves health and fitness, has some sites in the area of health and fitness, and also loves networking. So that pretty much is the summary of who I am.
Okay. So now let's talk a little bit about the networking for a second here. What did networking look like prior to COVID-19?
Okay,
let's just talk about that. What did it look like prior to COVID-19?
Okay, well, it was general networking where it was all face to face, and so you go to an event, and you'd if you had a chance to speak, you would give your 30 or 60-second presentation, and maybe there'd be time for testimonials and a business presentation. So you'd have the normal networking setup, and then you'd have informal networking. So it was a way to meet people. It was a way to collaborate with businesses, and people that are in their own business and have networked before are pretty familiar with the networking structure. But that's pretty much what it is. There are a number of networking groups, and they met once a week or every other week or once a month, and people would get together and they'd mingle and learn about one another's business.
Now, I asked you to explain that because there's a lot of people that don't network, and they don't understand the process of networking, right? In fact, I was on a call a few days ago, maybe it was last week or so, and the just before we started the call, the gentleman asked me, he said, hey, I have such and such on here with us. He's never done any kind of business networking. And I was like, wow, really? No kind of business networking at all. He says, yeah, never done any kind of business networking. And what would you give him as a tip? And so, I kind of talked about a few things at that point, but I was just surprised that that there are those people that don't do any networking whatsoever. And this guy's business, I mean, he had been operating fine on just totally referral based, getting all those referrals, which I think is remarkable when that happens. So now tell me this, what does networking look like post COVID-19? I can't even say post COVID-19 because COVID-19 is still with us. It's still going on. So now what does networking look like, and how did you make that pivot? What was your mindset?
Okay, so networking is really the lifeblood of small businesses. And if you are, in a small business, you have to find some kind of conduit to attract and generate new business, new clients. And networking is, if you're doing marketing on the internet, or you're doing direct mail advertising, or you're doing cold calling, or you've got clients that are referring business to you, networking creates a whole additional stream of business through finding referrals from the other people in the group, and from collaborating with others and doing joint venture experiences with other businesses. So it is a very substantial stream of new business. And so there are a lot of businesses that rely on networking. And when networking ended, with at least face-to-face with COVID-19, no large gatherings, no gatherings of more than 10 people at one time. And well, at one time it was everyone stay in. And so what happened there was that a lot of small businesses lost their stream of new business. And especially if they relied heavily on networking. And there are a number of businesses that have closed. What happened here is that immediately all the networking organizations in Las Vegas just put things on hold. They said, well, everyone had the idea that this is going to be temporary. So, hey, we're postponing this event, we're postponing the next month's event, and we'll be back. And things are going to be back the way they were before. And here's the thing, that as time went on, a month went to 2 months to 3 months to 4 months, it didn't come back. And businesses were really suffering. As I mentioned, some businesses closed. Well, we had two networking organizations. The reason I say we is that you and I, Stan, were in both those organizations in leadership. And one was the Chamber of Commerce. The other was an organization called New Network Northwest, which is becoming Network Las Vegas now. And we decided at the very beginning, we just had the feeling, this is going to be permanent, and we might as well just move right ahead with virtual networking. We had been in webinars before with Marketing Department Las Vegas, and I'd had the other webinar, Achieving Your Optimal Health, and so we knew how to work Zoom, and knew that hey, you could have a virtual networking meeting. And we also knew about networking. We knew about the process of a networking meeting, the organization of a networking meeting, what happens, what's the agenda. And so we took our New Network Northwest, which was a live networking group, and the chamber, and we asked ourselves, okay, how can we duplicate as much as possible? How can we make it so people can share their 60-second commercial and do testimonials and give their business presentation. That was kind of easy with Zoom. And then the one thing that was a little more challenging that I'll have to give you the credit for, Stan, was how do you do the informal networking where people mingle around the room and they meet with other people, and a lot of business occurs there. That's when you decide, hey, this is a person I really want to drill down with. This is a person I want to have a one-to-one meeting with, and I might do business with. And so we worked out not only the Zoom networking schedule and organization, but we also added in what we call breakout rooms, which allowed for the face-to-face informal networking. And so we got closer and closer to approximating what was actually a networking event. And in some ways, it was better because when you don't have the travel time and parking issues and taking at least double the time in the meeting to go to a networking meeting. So that was better. And then also you can record the presentations. And so now we have recordings of all the business presentations and even testimonials. I've got a ton of recordings on my hard drive, and it's just a matter of editing them. But I could probably come up with testimonials for 30, 40 businesses and business presentations for 30 or 40 businesses since we began doing this virtual networking. Now, in the meantime, there were still those who decided, no, this is just temporary. We're going to mark time, put everything on hold. So that when I'm talking about those, I'm talking about individuals who decided, I'm going to stop networking. A lot of those businesses are businesses that are really struggling, and some of them failed. Others are like the networking organizations. Well, some of those networking organizations began to also take on virtual networking. It was probably, they're about 2 months, 2 to 3 months behind us because it took them a while to get going. And still, even the main networking organizations in Las Vegas and around the country have not fully taken that on. There was a group called Network After Work that has yet to really resume its Las Vegas networking. They don't have it anymore. They're just waiting. And so a lot of individuals and networking organizations are waiting, and those are the ones that are struggling. In the meantime, we decided to go ahead and just press on and just go for it all out. How can we make this better and better? We achieved a core of networkers in both organizations, New Network Northwest, which is networklasvegas.com now, and the Las Vegas Health and Fitness Chamber. We have achieved a core, very strong networkers that love networking virtually, and both organizations have actually grown in the past 6 months and doubled and looking toward tripling or more. We are finding people becoming a part of these networking organizations in from other parts of the United States, because that's another value of the virtual networking, that we are no longer bound geographically. And then you have issues that you need to work through, such as, well, if I'm selling insurance in Nevada, I'm limited to Nevada. Why do I want to talk to someone in New York? And right. So we have that. We're still working through those issues, but the point is we're working through every issue that we face, refining things, making them better and better. And we are not looking to go back to the way things were. Both organizations have committed now to continuing on as virtual networking organizations. We're talking about having, when things open up again, we get a vaccine and people can meet together in groups. We are talking about, yes, we'll have once a month face-to-face meeting, and because there's nothing like face-to-face, and so we'll go ahead and do that. But there's also nothing like virtual. And virtual has really taken on, a standing of its own. And so the future of networking really looks like a hybrid. And those organizations, the hybrid model, are the ones that are going to really thrive in the future, moving ahead. And this is what we've discovered since last March. We've just plowed on ahead through COVID. We have grown through COVID. We've developed new models. We've had other organizations come to us and ask us, how do you do this? How do you do that? I know you, Stan, are working with some speed networking groups and help them to do the breakout rooms and are helping them to move on ahead. It turns out that you and I are really the kind of like the patriarchs of modern day networking moving forward.
Yeah, kind of the pioneers with this new technology, right?
Better term.
Exactly. So let's just talk for a second about what are those benefits. You named a few of them there, but when I look at the speed networking, using speed networking in particular, which we called it informal face-to-face networking or whatever, but it's all kind of the same thing, really. But it just gives people one-to-one time facing with each other. When I look at that, especially from a speed networking standpoint, that I found the online version of it is much more satisfying than even the face-to-face. And the reason being is the noise level drops way down, that you don't have, 50 people in a room all trying to talk to each other at the same time with all the noise level. But the efficiency of it went way up because the computer is unforgiving. If you don't finish your meeting in the 3 to 5 minutes or whatever you have, it just cuts you off and moves back to the main room, getting ready for the next round. So the efficiency of it is way better than what it is when you're in a room with 50 people and you're trying to yell and speak over everybody to get people to now move and do their thing and all that. But I also found that you mentioned some of it in terms of the face-to-face. You save on drive time, you save on gas, and you save on wear and tear on your vehicle. And so your expenses go down with doing the virtual networking, right? That you're not buying as many lunches, which means that you probably, depending on who you are, you probably could, keep a few pounds off because we're not eating all the stuff that we shouldn't be eating in the first place, right? But there were so many reasons that I look at and I say, wow, the virtual networking really has a lot of advantages over what other advantages, because I want to hit on a few disadvantages, but what other advantages do you see for the virtual versus the face-to-face?
Well, another advantage is that you don't have people breaking into your individual conversations. I can remember I'm talking with someone, we're focusing, and then somebody else comes in and pulls you away or pulls the other person
Great
away.
Point.
And you just have really scattered conversations. And at least with the breakout rooms, you can see the clock going and when your time is going to be up. Well, you never knew when something would interrupt you. Another value of the virtual networking is that you immediately get all the contact information of everyone in the room because they put it on the chat, and then you download the chat after the meeting. And so where you had a live meeting and you maybe came away with 5 or 6 business cards, unless you really moved around quickly. And there are some people that do that, but I usually ended up talking with 1 or 2 or 3 people, and that was my main conversation. Instead, now you end up with the contact information of everyone in the room, and it's digital, so you don't have to scan cards and um, and manually type them in. You can actually move them directly to your contact management program. And I know, Stan, with your automation systems, have a system where people can take that chat and they can automatically import that into their email marketing programs, their contact management systems. And that's a real benefit. We're not hanging around with the stack of business cards that used to be on our desk that just sat there, and we're thinking, oh, one of these days I got to put this into my system, and then it's lost, and those connections are lost.
Yeah, it almost, those cards almost never make it to the system. And
No.
with me, I was a big proponent of, yeah, let's automate all of that as much as possible, but it gets to be tough to continuously get those cards uploaded. So it's a much more difficult thing. But I want to back up for just a quick second and hit the other thing that you talked about there. You talked about, you've got the time that the clock's ticking, and you've got this one-to-one conversation. You're not going to be interrupted with, somebody else butting in or whatever. However, there's another good thing about that. There's another point to make with that, is that if in fact this is a conversation that really isn't a great conversation, sometimes we get caught in a conversation face to face and it's hard to get away from it, but you're going, okay, this is not taking me anywhere. How do I get out of this conversation, right?
That's true.
You can get out of it super easy. Just wait for the 3 to 5 minutes to pass, and now you move on to the next person, right? So it regulates that whole thing, both from the standpoint of giving you that direct contact, face-to-face contact with a person, but also limiting how much time you actually spend there, so that it adds a level of efficiency and all of that to it that you don't always have.
Here's another thing. When people went to the live networking meetings, they're kind of, if you're not really used to networking, you may be a little nervous. What are you going to do? You're going to gravitate toward people you know. Right. And so you're in this group of people you haven't met anyone new. Right. The virtual networking puts you with someone you wouldn't normally connect with. Exactly. And that's positive too.
That's another big positive there. So what's lost? What did we lose with virtual networking?
Well, there's, like I said earlier, there's nothing like the face-to-face. Mm-hmm. And actually looking someone in the eye is, you see them on the computer like you're looking at you and I here, but it's not entirely the same as being face-to-face and mingling around a room. So that's why I'm thinking that a hybrid model is what is in our future.
Right. Well, there's some statistic, and I don't remember what it is, but a certain high percentage of communications is body language. It's not the words that we're saying. And you miss the body language piece when you're virtual, right? You only get maybe the face, you minimize the body language piece. You don't really get to see all of that, right? So that piece is kind of missing. All right, so we're coming up on the end of our time here. So the future of networking. I mean, what do you see it? Yeah, you kind of mentioned it earlier. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think that some things that need to be worked out are the difference between local and national and international. And that will be something people really need to be aware of. I'd say definitely for the future of networking, continue a virtual model, bring in the hybrid bring in the face-to-face, but there are a lot of things still to be worked out. We're still at the very beginning of the possibilities of virtual networking, but the only way an organization is going to figure this out, and the only way a business is going to figure this out, is commit yourself to virtual networking. And then every time you come up against a barrier, every time you get an idea thinking, oh, wow, this is a new world, I can tweak this the way I want for the best advantage. Be creative. You're in the wild, wild west of virtual networking right now. And now's the time to shape your future.
Yep. Okay. Very good. So now let's talk for a little bit about, you have a special project that's going on, and I'm trying to display this. What is this project? CreateHealthNevada.com.
Okay. Now this is one of my clients,
Okay.
and this company is creating a product, a health product that is a self-paced learning program. And so what we've done is we created learning modules, and I guess I can't share the screen.
Yeah, we're like 31 minutes, so this was supposed to be a
Okay.
30-minute program, so we're
Oh,
over.
okay. So anyway, so we've created something like 16 different modules,
Mhm.
and they take people through a total health body transformation, body makeover program. And what I've done is created a sales page, and that's what this link is. It's the link
Okay.
to the sales page, and created some ways to mastered some ways to display your product, like you've seen the ebook covers, the DVD covers. I've mastered the way to make a product virtually look very substantial.
Okay.
And so you have knowledge you'd like to turn into information product. That is one of the skills that I have developed along with virtual networking. And I can help a business put that knowledge into information product and create a passive income moving forward.
Gotcha. Okay, so if they go to this site, they'll see they get a little bit of an example of some of your work, right?
Yeah, this will be the
That's
sales
it.
page.
Okay.
It's there's more tweaking we're going to do, but it's kind of like virtual networking.
Yeah.
You get ideas and you make tweaks.
Yeah. And your information is scrolling across the bottom of the screen, so people can get in touch with you that way. And so, is there any other thing that you'd like to mention really quickly before we end our broadcast?
Well, I just want to give a special thank you to you, Stan, for being together with me all along with the new Network Northwest, now Network Las Vegas, and also the Chamber. And you're the past president of the Chamber. You're the one that turned it over to me. And now I'm working together with Jonathan Marks, but you're still very much involved. And so, we've been a team in making this great transition. This wasn't me. I couldn't do it alone. And we did it together.
Well, it's been a nice transition with, we just really never skipped a beat with regard to meetings and networking. And we didn't miss any meetings. Everything we just boom. It was, okay, we're shut down for the pandemic. All right, great. Let's just do it online on Zoom. And just boom, we just kept right on going with it, which is what the reason that I really do this broadcast is. I want other small businesses to see that and to understand that you don't need to just shut down and hibernate or in whatnot, because you and I have both heard the stories and talked to people that basically when we went into quarantine, people just shut down and just said, okay, I'm not doing anything. We never stopped. We kept working. We just worked from home. and we just were sheltered in home, but we kept going, and all of it just turned into virtual just like that, right? So so it was fun. I mean, the teamwork really helped us bring it all together. What you had, or maybe what you didn't have, I had, and vice versa, right? So that we complemented each other with all of that. So it was very good. All right, we are going to end this broadcast, but before we end, I just want to say to everybody, thank you for watching. I appreciate you being here, and all of you replay viewers that watched on the watching on the replay. Thank you very much. If you have not liked, subscribed, or followed on your favorite platform, whichever it might be, please do that and go along with me on this journey. I'm exploring the online live broadcasting, and so we are on 3 different platforms right now, and we'll figure out what do we do next, right? I think that LinkedIn is starting to do something in live broadcasting and all that, and I'm going to figure out a way to get over there too. I don't know, haven't done that one yet, but we'll figure it out, right? So at any rate, thank you very much. And so David, thank you for joining me this morning. We are going to hit end